Good morning, Professor Vidya, and to everybody who's watching this. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Today, my friends Stan, Maxime, and myself will be covering these topics: exceptional teamwork, outstanding project management, excellent technology stack, and efficient communication with a client. Starting with exceptional teamwork. One of the most important things you need to have to achieve your goals is to have a good team or a dream team that helps you achieving these goals. As Elon Musk once said, no one has ever done anything successful in this life without having a good team to help him. Even all these companies that claim that they started with one person, it never got big until they started hiring more people and more employees. So how do you form a good team or a great team to help you achieve your goals? First of all, you need to understand the act of rewarding, which basically means rewarding your employees and your team members um, for anything they do, even if it was bad or not good enough. And then you need to give them some sort of belonging. So you need to make them feel that they belong to this group or this team, which will make him work, um, make him be more sincere at work. Also, you need to celebrate. You need to celebrate every small step you and your team take, so that it gives your team a motive or a push to achieve more in the future. Also, one last thing, and it's probably the most important thing, you need to have a vision, a clear vision that that you really believe in, and to pass it to your team members so that they can have your same vision and they feel like it's their own vision as well, not only yours. And there's more I can talk about, but this is it for my part. And next, my friend Maxine will be talking. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Max, and in the continuous of the deadline presentation, we'll take a look to the set of technologies. As an example, we'll discuss the set of technologies for developing a mobile app. So there is two main platforms, it's iOS and Android. And developing separately for each platform, you need to use different programming languages. For iOS, it is Swift. For Android, it is Java or Kotlin. So basically, you will need two different teams of the developers, and it will increase your cost and the debugging process, and you will need more time to finish your app. So if you want to save some time and save some money, you can use the technologies like, for example, a React Native is, which allows you to develop the app for the both of the platforms at the same time. In the development process, there is five main points that you should always keep in your mind. It is design, modules, debug, backend, and communication. These all five points should work at the same time to create the best result, so you will never miss your deadline. First point, it is a design. You should have your design ready before your developers start writing code. Because when the developer have the design, they can logically break the tasks and understand how the app should look like. So there will be much less errors and rewriting your UI. The second point is modules. You should always break your app for the logical modules, for example, like login page, registration page, user page, and so on. The third point, it is debugging. There is no way that your developers will give you the app without the bugs from the first time. So be ready to fight them. If we cannot avoid the bugs, how we can deal with it? There is a lot of platforms that allows you to track all your bugs and create tasks for each of them. So you can uh, prioritize them and decide what bug you should fix first and what's later. For example, if it is a UI bug, you can do it later, and if it's some critical logic bug, you should do it at the first time. So these development platforms will allow you to see all this data visually. The fourth point is a backend. At the beginning, you should always decide what server you will use and what programming languages for the backend you will use. We'll discuss them later. The fifth point, it is a communication. You should always have a good project manager that will delegate all the work between the programmers and see if these programmers can do that work, if he's not. So like you should always, if there is a problem, you should always say about that problem and not just wait until the deadline and say, oh guys, I cannot do that. So communication, it is a very important part of the development process. As you now know all about the development process, let's talk more about the React Native. So, as I already told you, there is different platforms. For example, like iOS, Android, Windows Phone, BlackBerry. They all use different programming languages to create app for that specific platform. But with React Native, you can write your code in the JS file, and it will translate that file to the different programming languages for a specific platform. For example, if I'm using iOS, the React Native compiler will take the JS code and translate it to the Swift, so it can run on the iOS. So it allows you to write cross-platform apps, which is very amazing and will save you a lot of time. If you have a strict deadlines and you need to develop apps for different platforms, I recommend you to use React Native to save your time. Now let's talk about the backend part. Here I have two examples of the good backend. It is Node.js and Python. This is two programming languages that will allow you to control your all backend part, which should be hidden from the user, but it is required. For example, when I'm trying to log into the application, it should send the request to the backend with your email and the password and say me, is the user exist with this email and the password or not? So why Node.js and the Python? There is a lot of more backend programming languages you can choose by your own, but I will recommend to use Node.js because it is a library for the JS. So you write the same code for your application, because with the React Native you use the JavaScript, and for the Node.js you also need to use JavaScript. So you'll write the same programming languages for your front end and the back end. You can have only one developer who can do that. And the Python, it is a new and very good language that can handle all backend API points, which is also very good. And that was it for the technology part. And now we'll take a look at the management.
My name is Stanislav, and now I'm going to tell you about project management. And I'm going to start with words of Dini Muslihat. He once said, every project management knows that selecting the right methodology is crucial to getting the job right. While there are project management methodologies aplenty, we've narrowed it down to 7 popular ones and what they're best suited for. In my opinion, these words make a lot of sense because I think you cannot do your job 100% correct if you don't have a plan how to do it. So before you start working on your project, you have to choose a methodology you want to apply. And here I have a picture with 9 popular project management methodologies. But I think out of these 9, Agile and Waterfall are 2 the most common. Now I'm going to tell you about the key differences between those 2 methodologies. So the first one is Agile methodology is known for its flexibility, whereas Waterfall is structured software development methodology. Also, Agile follows an incremental approach, whereas the Waterfall methodology is a sequential design process. And the last one is Agile allows changes in project development requirements, whereas Waterfall has no scope of changing the requirements when the project development starts. So if you have a large project that require maintaining strict requirements and deadlines, Waterfall is your choice, but otherwise Agile probably is going to be the best option for you. Once you chose your methodology and started to work on your project, one of the most important things while you're working on it is communication with the client. If you want to make your client happy and satisfied with your work, you have to follow these 4 steps. First of all is daily reports. Just simply send him an email with information on what you did today. Then you can give your client an access to your project dashboard so he can keep track of your progress. Also, you can call him 2-3 times a week and ask him if he's happy with your work. And the last thing is you need to be online as long as you can in case he needs to reach you and tell you something important. So if you follow these steps, there is no doubt your client will be super happy with you. And the last thing I wanted to tell is don't consider deadline as something bad. As Rita Moore Brown once said, a deadline is a negative inspiration. Still, it's better than no inspiration at all. That's it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.